Saint Vincent, I thank you for all the things you have done for me. Saint Vincent, I thank you for all the things you have done for me. You gave us so many beautiful sceneries that make us the gem of the Antilles. Baroli, I thank you for all the things you have done for me. Baroli, I thank you for all the things you have done for me. You gave us so much black fish oil, a good medicine for every boy.
I want to welcome us all to the closing ceremony of this UNESCO-sponsored project in Rose Hall. It is a project that has to do with ethnobotany of some local herbs that are around and that has been used for a while, more of which we would know a little while from now. I would wish at this time to recognize the head table. To my immediate left is the Honorable Roland Patel Matthews, Parliamentary Representative for North Leeward. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Next to him is Mrs. Janelle Henry Rose, representative from the Ministry of Education and a part of the committee of the UNESCO, could I say development, UNESCO committee in St. Vincent, but she will tell you more about herself and what she does and how she's involved in it and so on. Over to my further left is the man behind the scenes and who has been a community activist for probably all his years, known to everybody as Selly, Mr. Selwyn I nearly say Matthews. I don't know why I want to call you Matthews. But Mr. Selwyn Patterson, I want to welcome you all to this activity. And if you don't know me by now, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dan Richards, and I live in Rose Hall. I spent all my Christmases here. So I am a Rose Hall man by name and nature. At this time, we want to give God thanks for what He has brought us through. Let me recognize the school children also among us and the teachers. Happy to have you. I want at this time to welcome all of us again, and more so to especially welcome Mrs. Rose, who is somebody who is masterminding this thing. She's the link between what's happening here and what goes on over here and what's supposed to transpire across. You know that connection. She is a very vital link in this project. We welcome you, ma'am. We're happy to have you. And I would want you at this time, please, to extend your remarks and whatever else goes with it. The privilege is yours. Please welcome Mrs. Rose. You can sit on the podium yourself.
Good morning once again. I want to acknowledge the presence of everybody here, the representative, Mr. Matthews, Sally, and the team, Ms. Haynes, the teachers, students, members of the community. I want to welcome you. Now, since 1983, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we became a member of the UNESCO family. Now, we have worked closely together to ensure that UNESCO's mandate in education, the sciences, information and communication, and culture were carried out throughout many projects and programs as guided by our policies of the country in the various disciplines. Now, today is testimony of the teamwork between us. Amidst all the challenges, we all should be proud of the Rose Hall Cultural Organization, in that the project they undertook over the last year or so has shown their determination to have the cultural heritage of this country well preserved. Now, do you know what is our heritage, children? When I say heritage, I mean our legacy, things from the past that will live today, and what we pass on to our future generations. Our culture and our natural heritage are both irreplaceable sources of life inspiration. Let us look at two initiatives that UNESCO has used to help our country move forward with our mandate to preserve and to safeguard all that we consider as culture. First of all, we have the Memory of the World program. UNESCO has this program called the Memory of the World. Now, it has often been said that a people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, culture is like a tree without roots. So, no amount of sophistication is going to allay the fact that all our knowledge is about the past and all your decisions are about the future. It is on this principle that the program, the Memory of the World program, took root for UNESCO. What they saw, because people are who are involved in UNESCO, so what they saw is that there was a growing awareness of the parallel state of access to documentary heritage in various parts of the world. We have war all over the world and a lot of social upheaval, even now as it were in those days, as well as lack of resources, and we have worsened problems. We have looting, we have trading of information also, we have destruction, and we have inadequate places and funds, most of all, to help us preserve our documentary heritage. I know from time to time a lot of people have been doing researches from the primary school, secondary, tertiary institutions, and you want something about St. Vincent, about what went on in the days, and we have nothing at all. It has not been preserved. So a lot of it has disappeared. But happily, missing documents of our heritage is sometimes rediscovered. Now, I don't want to touch on the issue of the slavery story. Maybe it has been lost. Maybe somebody sold our information. Let us not go there. But I'm sure you understand where I'm coming from with respect to information and preserving this as a story for future generations. That is why we have to give a big round of applause to all those who were involved in this ethnobotany program here at Rose Hall. Yes, they did a very good job, so we can clap them. Yes, we can clap them. Good. They produced a herb garden with many plants that have been used to heal our ancestors, and even going further to document it in a book. So they have a book. They're doing their part in preserving what we have. Our future is in good hands. Now, I pause a bit to mention here that St. Vincent and the Grenadines has moved forward in ensuring that we preserve what we have. In fact, last year, 30th of October 2017, we had a submission inscribed in the UNESCO Memory of the World list. It is the records of the Indian indentured laborers. So there is information for all of us to understand when the first Indian person arrived here. All that is being documented, and it is now on the UNESCO's world list. That, I say, is a big feat for us, something that we must be proud of. And we must congratulate, or we must show appreciation for the people at the library, the documentation unit, that is, the archives and documentation unit, and that is the Indian Cultural Organization, the foundation, and Dr. Thomas, that's his team there. Also, UNESCO has many conventions, but one of them that we're concerned about when we're looking at the program that the Rose Hall Cultural Group did is the convention that safeguards intangible cultural heritage. Through this instrument, our country has agreed to adopt the general policy aimed at highlighting the function of our intangible cultural heritage. So, basically, we have the permission to make public all our traditions, our festival, our craftsmanship, our knowledge, all of these things we can do all because we signed on to this convention. So we must not be ashamed to preserve what is ours. Are you not proud when people from overseas, as we say, call and they demand our coconut oil because they have a nasty head cold? Are you not proud? That is part of our heritage. What about the Karaili? What do we use the Karaili for? Maybe for headache, I know it, that we use it, we bang our heads, and the headache goes away. All of these things, and we can go on and on and on. We have the pepper bush, we have the buttsuck, all of these things. And this is what we want to document so that people come in, this generation and those to come, know that we have something important. All right? So, what I want to do is to implore you not to keep this information to yourself. All of SVG must know about it. The entire region, they need to know. The world over, they have to know. They have to know about it. UNESCO, we are certainly proud to be part of all this. We at the National Commission, at the Ministry of Education, Reconciliation and Information, will continue to work with all our stakeholders in ensuring that many programs are implemented, that our country continues to advance in the face of modernization. Nelson Mandela, he reminded us that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. So, I want to remind all of us that the various education programs that are offered through UNESCO is just one small step in changing your world, our world. So, I don't want any of you to shy away from the opportunities when the master's program that we have on climate change in Pakistan shows up, or energy sustainability over in Russia, or even a certificate in social work counseling in Israel. This world is a global village. So gone are the days where only the places where you can obtain a good education is England and North America. You can go anywhere at all and obtain a good education. And UNESCO is making that possible for all of us. Do not be fearful to partner with countries outside your region as we help each other in the education, the sciences, the ICT, culture. We must create synergies. So our office there at the Ministry of Education, you can call upon us anytime to assist with project writing tailored to the organization's needs. SVG, this is something that I just want to bring to your attention, that St. Vincent and the Grenadines was proudly voted as a member of the UNESCO's executive board. This is the highest decision-making body at UNESCO, and out of a total of 195 members, we were on that board. So make no mistake, we are going to work to continue to raise our profile here at UNESCO and beyond. It is not enough to be busy like ants. No, you just can't go around saying that you're busy. What are you busy doing? If you can dream, just as Rose Hall Cultural Organization dreamed, you can do it. They did it. Their herbal garden and their book. You can do it. Once again, on behalf of my parent ministry, our parent ministry, the Ministry of Education, Reconciliation and Information, the National Commission of UNESCO, we want to thank you very much and congratulations on the work that you have put in. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Rose, and we do appreciate your contribution to this project. And we look forward to continued cooperation with your committee and with your parent body, UNESCO. We appreciate the whole idea of teamwork, and this is where we have to collaborate if we are to make St. Vincent a better place. He has been a workhorse in terms of cultural work in St. Vincent and in Rose Hall in particular. Sally, the opportunity is yours now to formally present to us the project, what it entails, what it did, what it didn't do, what they hope to have done. Sally, God bless you, man.
Bless you. Give thanks, greetings. You know, let me establish protocol. So, Chairperson, Mr. Dan, I want to say Mr. Dan was my first boss. Every community work that I know is from Mr. Dan, yeah? Representative, Mr. Patel Matthews, Ms. Rose, it's been a pleasure working with you, and we are very happy that we can do this project together. But first of all, so I would like to say thanks to the Rose Hall community, everyone in Rose Hall, Richmond Vale Academy as well, who work with us. I recognize Tashika, Jeff, Global Initiative Facility, Environmental Facility, the teachers, the Peace Corps, Arlene, Blessed Love, Annie from the preschool, Blessed Love, Miss Richards, and Don was one of the persons who we went to also for information, so I'm very happy. Now, I must say we give thanks to Mosai because he have made the herbs for the use of man. And we read that in Genesis, and then when after he made man, he said to them, I have given you the herbs for your use. You know, so that is something we have to carry on, so that we can be better people. You know, long ago, before we have the pharmaceutical, we used to have herbs. Now, our group, Rose Hall Cultural and Development Organization, we have sit down together, and we also work along with Debbie, and she's one of the persons who really help us with this. She was the liaison person between us and Miss Rose, Debbie Daniel, and we also work along with Amos Glasgow. Now, within this project, we were supposed to go around our village and ask our villagers what are some of the herbs that we used to use and are using still, and what are the things that we do with them. Either we make the tea or we put them and we soak them and all that. Now, the group have went around with Richmond Vale Academy some of the time, and we start from Lemilone and we end at New Village, River Road, where we ask the persons, what are the herbs that you use? And they have given us all the information. Then we went back. You have to listen, children, as otherwise you might know, right? Because this is history. This is something that belongs to Rose Hall. So listen very carefully, yeah? Then we went back and then we document what they have said to us. We put it on the book, and then we ask some persons who are very good in herbs, we ask them to come and work with us, and we sit down and we put all the herbs together, find their scientific names. So in the book it has the local names and the scientific names. So we document all these bush, all these herbs, and also roots, things like sarsaparilla and zebra peak and all these things. So we document them and we find the scientific name and put them in the book. Then we start our herbal garden down at the river. We are using the old Arrow factory that was there. You know, talking earlier with Mr. Dan and Mr. Matthews. And Mr. Dan was saying to me that, Sally, I was one of the persons who know how this was operating. So we have to tap into this information because we put the herbal garden inside of the copper and all the things, the relics that are there, the old things that are there, the copper and so on that are there. And now our herbs are growing very well. But before I really go on further, I have to say some things that our group has been doing. You know, this is a great achievement for our group and also for Rosa. But our group, we have started our group in 2008. So this year will be 10 years since we are together. And some of the things that we've been doing, we were the only cultural group, the only group that have gone to the Argyle International Airport and organized 2 concerts there and raised over $4,000+ and donated to the fund, to the Argyle International Airport Fund. We also were responsible for the playing field in Rosal, to rehabilitate the playing field in Rosal. We have given to Rosal Primary School over 160 fruit trees. And I was happy when one of the youths, one of them bring orange for me from one of the trees. We also will take part in the Vinci Homecoming. So when Mr. Dan talked about the project, I could remember that we were the group that started the Maypole. And when we went out to Annisvale and saw the Vinci Homecoming night with Maypole, we were the person who inspired that because we were part of the Vinci Homecoming. And since the Vinci Homecoming, we've been having what we call the Rosal Culture Fest. And the Rosal Culture Fest now, this will be our 9th year. This year we have it on the 31st of March. And where we have the donkey race. We also do some different culture things in it, you know, so where we can preserve our culture. So doing this work, this is one of our greatest work because now we have a document that we can say, we have done this. And I must say thanks to UNESCO and Miss Rose for, you know, giving us this opportunity where we can boast proud of Rosal and say, this belongs to Rosal. This is a book. This is something. This is a document that belongs to Rosal. So I want to give us a round of applause to Miss Rose. You know, our members, we've been working very hard, you know. I must say this because we're in a public place now. You know, last year it was very disappointed that we can have the lighting up going down like that, you know, and it was very disappointing. We are very serious people, and when we come to work, we want to work with everyone, you know. And for what happened last year with the lighting up wasn't a nice one, so I must say it publicly, because we were willing to hand over the lighting up without any fuss, you know. But when that happened, it really brought a dent to our group, but our group still persevered and said, we have work to do here in Rosal. And I want the youth and them to be inspired about this book, because this book is the first. Is the first book in Rosal, understand? Yeah, more than that. But the first herbal book, right? The first herbal book. But the first for our heritage, you know? So maybe we can be inspired and write a book about the history of Works, what used to happen in Works, or what used to happen in Jackhill, or what used to happen in Copeland, what used to happen at the Arrow factory. It's because we are talking about heritage, and Ms. Rose mentioned it earlier. So how can we maintain this knowledge? How can we maintain this history? Yeah? So from us, the members of the Rosal Cultural and Development Organization, I am very, 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 very happy and feel proud of this, what we are doing. I know it's the closing. I have seen the book. It is very well done. Yeah? So we are waiting on the publisher to correct some mistakes, and then we are going to make sure, bring out the book for you to see. Yeah? So we will give one to all the libraries. So we have a public library here in Rosal, and we also have the library at the school. Yeah? So we will do that. But now I want you to view some photos from when we start to where we are now. So I'm going to help you to this one. So just be with me a little.
I want to thank Sally very much for his enthusiasm, and I know that his heart is in all of this. And I really want to commend him on his leadership skills and his ability to pull the group together and to move forward. With us is our parliamentary representative, the Honorable Roland Patel Matthews, and it is so good that he could take time out from his busy schedule to be with us. Let me recognize the head teacher of the Rosal Government School, Lady Janice, Lady Louis Cyrus. Let me recognize you. So happy to have you. Mr. Matthews, I am sure, could have found, let me say 10 or so, not a million, but probably about 10 or so other things to do today. But he chose to be with us, and today we want to recognize his presence and to give him the opportunity now to give us a brief address. Mr. Matthews, could you welcome him, please?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the Rosal Cultural Group, Mrs. Henry Rose from UNESCO, other invited guests, teachers, students of the Rosal Government School, principal and former colleague, Mrs. Cyrus Lewis, and everyone else, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here on this very important occasion. And while I was there sitting down, I was saying to myself, here we have a very historic happening. And I hope that not only us who are here would be seeing this, but I hope that some way or the other, that Sally and Company would find a means of getting it to the newspaper and other news avenues. Because this is indeed historic. And as the chairperson said a while ago, I hope all of St. Vincent get to know about what is happening here in Rosal and in North Leeward by extension. This is by no means an easy feat. And persons from the Rosal Cultural Organization should be very proud of themselves. And I want to join the chairman in giving yourselves again a very warm round of applause for your job well done. You know, over the years, I have got to know Sally and his crew based on activities that this organization has been doing and has been inviting me to over the years. I must say that you guys have been doing what I consider a great job, and I want you to continue to do it. Sally, Gilly, my good friend, Walter, you know you're my brother at any time. Never mind, I give you some stick, but I give you some stick too, but that's all in the friendship. This project that we are closing here today is indeed very historic, in the sense that I don't think I've ever heard of any community in St. Vincent and the Grenadines taking on such a project, where you have gone about and asked the older folks of the community about what uses they put to plants. All of us have experience growing up one way or the other, where the older folks would always find the use for plant, whatever ailment we had. And it is good to know that this community group have taken it upon itself to put this into a document form, so that when we have gone to the great beyond, this will be available for incoming generation to have a look at. So it is indeed a good project, as I said earlier, and I hope that when we have the launching of the book, that we could have more wide coverage, and not only in St. Vincent, but throughout the Caribbean and the world, where we have other books on similar use, and we could have this one in Rose Hall being among those that are out there. I was asking Sally a while ago, before we started, I said, did you by chance happen to put the use of ganja in the book? And you laugh. Now, this is something that is very topical at the moment. And we in North Leeward know the many uses that we put the herb to. So they mentioned herb. When we talk about the real herb, we know what we're talking about. This morning I was very fortunate to read online where CARICOM commissioned a group of persons to look into all the possibilities of marijuana. And they have just presented their findings to CARICOM. And very soon, that body will be launching their findings as well. I think it's somewhere in Jamaica that will be done. But it just goes to show how things have changed in the world. And today, something that we might take for granted, but tomorrow, the use will be phenomenal. And we in North Leeward are no exception. We have, in our ways, used ganja for uses that we I have to make sure I put this politically correct, we use ganja for many ailments. Let me leave it at that. And some of us are beneficiaries of that use. So Sally, I think one of your next target might be in the future. Now that we have the conversation started, one of your targets in the future is to target the ganja and go around the same way and get from the older folks and from, if I would say, this particular generation of first and mature persons, the uses to which they put this plant to as well. Because while we can also talk about the medicinal value, we sure can identify ourselves with the economical and recreational value of it. And I know between the next few months, it will be very topical in St. Vincent, and I'm encouraging Vincentians. We here in North Leeward must lend our voices whenever I believe consultations will be coming our way. Lend our voices and how we see, based on our experiences, how we in North Leeward have benefited and hopefully will continue to benefit in the future. Sally and company, I wish you all the best with this book. I cannot wait to get a copy. I was expecting one today, but I was told yesterday that things didn't go right, so I have to wait a bit later. As I said, I want to wish you all the best in your efforts, and will your group continue to go from strength to strength, lead by example as you have done in this area, that other groups will see what you're doing and try to emulate you. My friend, Sally, Walter, I say to you, a tremendous job, and keep it up.
Thank you very much, Mr. Matthews. As a student of botany, I applaud the effort. I remember many moons ago, I had this exercise to do as part of my botany, well, a similar exercise to do as part of my botany classes in lower 6 in the St. Vincent Grammar School. That was a long time, Sally. You were not born yet. But I really applaud the effort, and is the book going to be sold at a nominal price, or would it be given away? Nominal price, $2. No, that is just, I'm just kidding with that. But I'm sure that there's some cost that needs to be recovered and recuperate and so on. But the book would be available at a price that every one of us could afford. I really encourage you to get a copy of it when it becomes available on the market, because there's only going to be a limited amount printed, and we don't want everybody else to have, and the people of Rose Hall don't have it. So we're going to hijack it first. Make sure that we have copies for Rose Hall, and then ensure UNESCO gets its copies, and the Honorable Roland Patel Matthews gets his copy. I would get mine. I mean, must leave some in the school library. Now, there is the distribution of certificates, and I would want to ask Mrs. Rose and Mr. Matthews along with Sally, to come and to organize and distribute the certificates, please.
So then I just want to mention that most of our group members, they are doing this snack, so they will not be here, so maybe we'll just
Well, let me just mention
Yes.
this so that for seeing that these certificates, and sometimes you must recognize people's efforts. A lot of us do things and people don't recognize the contributions that we would have made and the sacrifices that went into it. And these persons, they are being recognized from the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, in conjunction with the Rose Hall Cultural and Development Organization. They have recognized the contribution of the following persons who have participated in making the book Ethnobotany of the Rose Hall and the Herbal Garden in Rose Hall. It is signed by Selwyn Patterson, the president of Rose Hall Cultural and Development Organization, and by Ms. Janelle Henry Rose, the SVG General Secretary for the Committee on UNESCO. Sonia Peters, Ursula Williams, Tamika Ferdinand, Ronald Robertson. And Mr. Robertson, you're here. Come for yours one time, man. Mr. Matthews, please. You see, we have a blend of youth and experience. That's the right one. Make sure you get the right one. Give it to me. It's all right, son. It's all right. It's all right. Go start that out of it. Walton Samuel. Yeah, I know. It's all right. I go start that out. Yeah. Thank you. Make sure Walton get the right one, eh? Gilroy Williams. Gilroy is not around. Ormond Johnson is not around. Grafton Prince is not around either. Flavia Patterson, and by no means the least, Selwyn Patterson. I want Miss Rose to give this one. This is special for you. Yeah. We have come to the point where the Rose Hall Cultural and Development Organization wants to say thank you. And let me be the first to say thank you, Rose Hall Cultural and Development Organization. You have done a splendid job. And may the Lord continue to inspire you and bless you in all your undertakings. I would want to call on you now, Sally, to say thanks. Because there are a lot of persons who you would know better than I would.
Yes, let me just say, I forgot to say we have done a project with Jeff, and that's the biodiversity livelihood project at River Road, and we are continuing it soon. You know, most people might think that we are not going to do things there, but Tashika is here, and she's the representative for Jeff. And we are going to start the project again soon. So let me say thanks to the chairperson, Mr. Dan. You know, as I said, Mr. Dan was my boss, and most of my training, I worked 7 years with Mr. Dan. and most of my training is in Switzerland. Thanks to the Honorable Patrick Matthews for being here, taking his busy time to be here with us. Also, Ms. Rose, thanks to you. Trust me, my heart is full with joy, and to be working with you, teaching you a lot, because there's a lot of things that I've learned since I've been doing this work with you. So I want to say thanks to you and to UNESCO. And Sherian, am I mentioning the name properly? Yes, Sherian is here as well, so I have to say thanks. Blessed, bit of Sherian. Also to Richmond Vale Academy. Richmond Vale Academy is where I'm working, but also they help me also in whatever endeavors for Rosal that I want to take up. They are fully behind me, and I'm happy that we can work together. Yeah? And I know when these are my students, and when they are going back, they are going to miss it so much, no? Also, let me say thanks for the school for coming out. This information will be passed to you, and we are going to make sure that you have one of the books in your library, and so that we can maintain our identity in herbs. Yeah? So thanks to Ms. Lewis for sending Teacher Chambers and Teacher Allen to be a part of our exercise today, and to the students. Thanks to Mrs. Richards for prayers this morning. Thank you. I called you on the spot, and you came and you helped me out in this one this morning. Thanks to Annie and the preschool for being here. Thanks to Dawn. We have gone to Dawn, and Dawn was the only person who have mustard. And we were looking for mustard all over. And we went by, in the book, every picture that was taken in Rosal. Yeah? So we have all the herbs, and we know where they are, and we know who have them. Yeah? So thanks to Dawn for being here. Peaceful, we say thanks for coming. Well, Ali, Ms. Lambert, thanks for coming. Ms. Samuel, thanks for coming. And to the members of the Rosal Cultural Development Organization, thank you for working along. Forget Bayam. How could I forget Bayam? Thank you, Mr. I called Mr. Bayam and said to him that I want you to be here with us, and thank you for coming, representing agriculture, and representing yourself as well. So thank you for coming. I'm very happy. We need enough to get here, so thanks for coming. So on behalf of the Rosal Cultural Development Organization, I wish to say thanks to everyone for coming out and be a part of what we have done here today. And I hope that this information will go to the children, and then the children can pass it on to their children. Thank you, Michael, especially for... We made a mistake, okay, we go carry that over. Yeah? So thanks to everyone, and I hope that we can show the slideshow now. Yeah, thank you very much.
Lady, I thank you for all the things you have done for me. Lady, I thank you for all the things you have done for me. You gave us so many men with great professions that make us a leading place in this nation. La 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 la. Oh, you gave me everything that can make me jump and sing. Mesco, I thank you for all the things you have done for me. Mesopotamia, I thank you things you have done for me. You gave us so many banana trees, the green gold of the West Indies. Lasso Frick, I thank you for all the things you have done for me. So Frick, I thank you for all the things you have done for me. You blow up when things are going wrong and remind us of the mighty one. Grenadines, I thank you for all the things you have done for me. Beckway, I thank you for all the things you have done for me. You gave us so much tranquility, quietness, and serenity. Kingston, I thank you for all the things you have done for me. Kingston,